Good evening, and welcome to tonight's Zoning Board of Appeals hearing. Let me introduce the members of town government that assist this board. To my left is Simone Vogarty, Assistant Town Attorney. To her left is Blaise Donadio, Planner in the Planning Department. You're all here tonight seeking relief from the Smithtown zoning ordinances, and it's our job to try to help you achieve the relief you are requesting whenever possible. It's up to you to provide us with precise and accurate information so we as a board can make decisions based on the facts presented. This board must consider the 5 area variance considerations in order to render a decision, and they are as follows. They're also listed up here for you. Number 1, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the variance. Number 2, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other means feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance. Number 3, whether the variance is substantial. Number 4, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood. And number 5, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created. Procedures for tonight's meeting. Cases will be called in the order they are advertised. When you're called, please present your certificates of postings and mailings to Liam if you haven't done so already, and then go to the podium, please. When you're at the podium, you can state your name and address for the record, and then proceed to tell us why you need your variance. At the end of your presentation, if anyone in the audience would like to speak on your case, they will be given one opportunity to do so. Then the applicant can come back to the podium to answer their concerns. Once the public hearing is closed, no further information will be accepted concerning the case. There are 2 ways to find out about your case. You can call the planning department tomorrow after 12, or you can wait to be notified by mail. We do have one case that has been withdrawn. That is case 19150, 20 Hurton Boulevard. That has been withdrawn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first case on the agenda, case number 19177, Island Preservation Project, LLC. The location of the property is the south side of Rose Street, 100 feet west of St. Nicholas Avenue in Smithtown. The property is owned R10. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum lot area from 10,000 square feet to 4,000 square feet, to reduce the minimum lot frontage at the setback line from 75 feet to 40 feet, to reduce the minimum side yard from 12 feet to 8 feet, to reduce the total side yards from 28 feet to 20 feet for a proposed 1,040 square foot, 2-story single-family dwelling with a 120 square foot front porch for the purpose of transfer of development rights.
Good evening.
Good evening. Louis Castellano on behalf of Island Preservation. So just for those, if there's anybody here in the public so they understand this, we're not looking to build a house here. We're just looking to transfer the development rights to another location. If you go based on the 5 criteria, it's not self-graded. It's a 40-foot lot. There's nothing else we can do with it. We're not going to build a house there. There's no effect in the environment. We're going to leave it natural. And if you look at the radius map that I've given you, you'll see there's quite a few 40s in the area and one 35-footer, which are existing. This board also granted me the 40-footer behind the bagel store about a year ago, which is already built and people are living in. But in this case, we are not developing it. It's going to stay natural, and we're just using it for TDR rights. That's it.
All right. Does anyone on the board have any questions on this application?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Planning?
No, thank you.
Sabrina?
Mr. Chairman, we'd just like to note that the survey, as well as current aerial photography, does show that there are some encroachments, a fence, a wall, and a locker. We just recommend that for TDR purposes that condition is required to remove those encroachments.
Not a problem.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? Can I have a motion to close the application, please?
Second?
Motion has been made to close the application. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, and have a great evening.
You too.
The next case on the agenda, case number 19178, Melissa Koppelman, 2 Wadsworth Place, Smithtown. The location of the property is the west side of Wadsworth Place, 112 feet north of Briar Root Drive. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 40 feet to 29 feet, to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 12 feet to 7 feet, to reduce the total side yards from 28 feet to 18 feet for a proposed 352 square foot first floor front and side addition, proposed 93 square foot side entry portico, proposed 29 square foot front portico, proposed 36 square foot garage portico, and proposed 77 square foot portico over garage.
Good evening.
Good evening. Members of the board, John Bracco, architect, 111 Railroad Avenue, Sayville, New York.
1 second. Did you submit a power of attorney?
No, but I have Ms. Kopelman right
Oh,
here with me.
could you-
Yes.
Get in front of the mic, please, and just introduce yourself.
My name is Melissa Koppelman. I live at 2 Wadsworth Place.
Okay. Would you like this gentleman to speak on your behalf?
Yes, I would.
Fine, thank you. Now, sir, if you could introduce yourself, spell your last name so we get it correct for the record,
Sure.
and your address, please.
Sure. John Bracco, Bracco, architect, 111 Railroad Avenue, Sayville, New York.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And I'm here on behalf of the owner and applicant, Melissa Kopelman, who is also here with us this. Here before you this evening in regards to a proposed 352 square foot first floor front and side, a proposed 93 square foot side entry portico, a 40 square foot proposed front portico, and lastly, a 77 square foot portico in front of the existing garage. These proposed additions require front, side, and total side yard variances. Let's start with the front yard variance request. The existing home, as well as several other homes on the street and in the neighborhood, are small split-style homes, not very attractive-looking homes. The proposed addition would accomplish 2 things. One is to provide a little additional living space on the main level, which is very small, and 2 is to completely upgrade the aesthetics and curb appeal of the home. We were able to find 2 relevant grants in this neighborhood pertaining to front yard setbacks, and I have copies of both those if you like. We believe that these grants help our front yard setback request. The first is case number 14705, dated 4/13/2005, which granted a front yard setback of 32 feet instead of the required 40 feet for a large 256 square foot front covered porch. The second was case number 12056, dated 3/12/1997, which granted 28 feet instead of the required 40 feet for a proposed 168 square foot one-story addition. These are grants by the Board of Appeals in regards to front yard setbacks similar to what we are seeking. In regards to the side yard variance requests, first I think it is important to note that there is an existing 3-season room currently on the south side of the house, which is only 3.8 feet from the south property line, which we believe has been there for approximately 30 years. Melissa Kopelman has owned the property for 10 years and was told by the previous owner that the 3-season room was at least 20 years old when she purchased the property. While we do not believe the 3-season room ever obtained a permit or a CO, we feel it is important to note because our proposal would be to knock it down and build a 1-story addition 8 feet from the south property line and a proposed open side portico 7 feet from the south property line. This proposal would be more than double the current side yard setback for the proposed addition from what is currently there. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, and why we feel this property is unique and worthy of consideration for this variance, is the fact that most of the interior lots in this neighborhood are rectangular. The subject parcel being the first interior lot north of Briar Root Drive on Wadsworth Place is not rectangular. The south property line narrows as you head from the front of the property to the back due to the fact that Briar Root Drive and Wadsworth Place are not perpendicular to each other. In fact, if the lot did not narrow from front to back and remained rectangular like most of the other interior lots in this neighborhood, the proposed one-story addition would only be 1 foot from conforming at 11 feet from the south property line, and the side covered portico would conform at 12 feet from the south property line. One final note in regards to the portico requests. The homeowner would agree that as part of the board approving the application, she would never be able to enclose them in the future. In summation, based on the facts presented, we respectfully ask the board to grant the application, and if the board has any questions, we'll do our best to try to answer them for you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone on the board have any questions?
No, thank you.
No. Just one question. The proposed garage portico,
Yes.
that's over the entrance of the garage?
Yeah, exactly, yep.
Okay.
And that's just coming out 5 feet from the front of the house.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Planning?
No comments, Mr. Chairman, but if the applicant would stop by after your hearing is done, I would appreciate it.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Sabrina?
No, no, thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard? Please come up. Could you step down, please, while they're speaking? Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Could you state your name and address for the record? Spell your last name so we get it correct, please.
Want to go first?
Gennaro Avallone, last name Avallone, first name Gennaro, 17 Briar Root Drive, Smithtown. It's, our backyard is on the side.
You can take that microphone.
okay.
Tilt it up, so you don't have to bend over so far.
We reside, their side yard is, and our backyard is facing their
Right.
side yard.
Okay. My name's Amy Grumet Avallone, last name Grumet hyphen A, V as in Victor, A, Llone. Also living at 17 Briar Root Drive.
Thank you.
We just have some questions because it concerns us. This extension is really facing our backyard. Just a few things. I took, I did,
We had sent these in as an email.
Right.
So you have that? Great.
yes. I guess the first question, after looking at the plans, is the first floor plan, the site plan show a covered porch on the side towards the back, but it's not in the elevations. We were wondering, what is the plan? What is it going to look like? Because it's not in the elevations. The next question also has to do with the side. The proposed front elevation shows no overhang along the left side of the house. The proposed rear elevation shows an overhang on the left side of the house. This would mean that the roof line is straight, even though the left wall is staggered. And the proposed site plan does not show this overhang. So the distances to the adjoining property, which is ours, on the site plan do not account for this overhang. So we wanted to know what the distances are to our property line, including the roof overhang along the side. Next question, is there a plan for a fence or walkway along that side of the house? Just wondering how much foot traffic there would be. Are the shrubs going to remain to kind of block some of it? And this one is important to us because it has to do with the outdoor lighting. There's nothing on the plans that I saw about outdoor lighting. We'd like to know what the illumination plan is for the rear and left side of the house. Our bedrooms face the back of the house, and we really don't want lights shining in. And the other question that we didn't submit, but we were just wondering, if this variance goes through, and in the future, somebody second story above that, would it go through a variance again, or would it just be, oh, well, the footprint is there and that person could increase the height of the house?
Well, if the footprint's there, they can, you have to go back for the variance.
Okay,
So there would have to be a variance, just to clarify? Okay.
a second variance to go up, okay.
It just escaped me. I guess the question is, the height of the new addition, it's, we couldn't really tell. So currently, when we look at the house, it's very low. It's very low. What is the new height of the addition? Is there a way to get that number?
We're going to ask the architect to come back up and answer your concerns.
Okay,
Oh, okay, okay.
thank you.
Is-
Do you have anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
you're quite welcome. Would you like to come up to answer their concerns? We have the letter here. Would you like a copy so you can?
Yeah,
come
that would
down?
be great, actually.
There you go.
So I guess I could sort of start with the last question, and I just confirmed this with Melissa Kopelman. She would have no desire to ever try to put a second floor on this one-story addition. It's a one-time thing, and this is the one and only thing she'll be doing to the house, so I can, tell you that with 100% certainty. In regards to some of the issues with the roof, okay, so if you look at those elevations, the bottom right, you'll see that's that left side of the house where we're putting the addition. Now, it's gonna be basically it's one gable roof that goes over the additions and then comes down and forms the roof for that rear covered porch. So it is shown on the elevations. It's a little hard to understand because it is a two-dimensional drawing. But that is that's the roof for the covered porch, which is on the drawing. It's, again, because it's a two-dimensional drawing, it's a little hard to see, but it is there. I know there was some other thing about an overhang. Proposed front elevation shows no overhang on the left side of the house. The proposed front elevation shows no overhang on the left side of the house. Yeah, it says the proposed front elevation shows no overhang on the left side of the house. Now, there is no overhang. That's the proposed one-story addition. Okay.
No, excuse me,
Oh, good.
please.
Okay. Okay. On the front of the house, okay. The proposed rear elevation shows an overhang on the left side of the house. The proposed rear elevation shows an overhang on the left side of the house. Yeah, I'm not seeing any overhang on the rear elevation on the left side of the house. Yeah, the left side of the house does not change at all.
I think what they're missing on your plan is because you have some relief on your left side floor plan.
Yes.
Your roof line just goes up from the front and down in the back. It's a single gable end, correct?
That's correct, yes.
So there is no staggering of the roof, it's just staggering of the walls.
Yes, it's the staggering of the walls, yes.
Yeah, so I think the confusion is if they think that the roof comes in and out when it does not.
Oh, okay, all right, understood, yep.
They also had a question about, is there a plan for any fence or walkway on the left side?
There is a fence there now, will you? All right, yeah, come on, Melissa.
Currently, there is a 6-foot vinyl fence that's theirs, and I have on my side, on my property, skip laurels that are green all year long, 9 feet tall. Oh, yeah, that's all staying, unless, well, their fence is actually killing my skip laurels right now, but they're there.
The last question I had, any plans for outdoor lighting?
There may be, as far as the overhead, there may be like some can lights, like outside, because I will probably put a slim cement walkway just to get there, but nothing that would even be near their fence, it's going to be,
This would be downlighting.
it would be downlighting, nothing, no spotlights off the side of the house, absolutely not. You're welcome.
Is there a fence? Yeah, the shrubs are going to remain. That was another question. I think that was it.
The height?
Oh, the height. Yeah, so the height, as you can see from that left side elevation, the peak of that new gable roof will be about 5 feet lower than the peak of the main gable roof. So it's definitely significantly lower than the peak of the existing house now. You could see it on the front elevation as well.
Do you have a number?
It's about 5 feet below, yeah. The new ridge for the addition would be about 5 feet below the existing ridge of the house.
Do you know what the existing ridge is?
The existing ridge height,
Yeah.
I'll go with my pretty good trained eye and say that's probably about 20, 21 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be 5 foot below that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I have a motion to close the application, please?
No one else, right? Oh, yeah. I'll make a motion to close the application.
Motion has been made to close the application. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Do you want them to refill this out or just cross this out? Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. The next case on the agenda, case number 19179, Huntington Learning Center, 89 East Main Street, Smithtown. The location of the property, the north side of East Main Street, 165 feet east of Landing Avenue. The property is zoned CB. The applicant is requesting a variance to increase the height of a rear-facing sign from 1 feet to 1.7 feet in the CB zoning district for a proposed 13.17 square foot illuminated wall sign.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So as stated in the,
Could you just introduce yourself, please?
oh, sure, I'm sorry, Mel Gonzalez, MIG Architect, PLLC.
You have power of attorney?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So as stated, the client would like to increase the size of the sign that's allowed by 0.7 square feet. And the reason for that is there is a sign next door, and you can see that in the photographs that were submitted. And it's actually the Smithtown Running Store. And you can see right on the side there that their sign fits right into that brick corbelling that is on the building. So the owner would like to match that sign so that it's consistent. That's really all he's looking for. It's going to be the same type of sign, same material, backlit, and match exactly in terms of square footage as the other sign.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone on the board have any questions on this application?
No, thank you.
He wants to raise the sign by 0.7 feet or by 0.7 square feet, he said?
0.7 square feet.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
0.7 square
Yes.
feet across the length of the sign?
That is
Okay,
correct.
got it, thank
All
you.
right. Planning?
No, thank you.
Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? Do you have a motion to close the application, please?
So moved.
Motion has been made to close the application. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next case on the agenda, case number 19180, Matthew Brennan, 173 Brookside Drive, Smithtown. The location of the property is the east side of Brookside Drive, 415 feet north of Forest Lane. The property is owned R21. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 50 feet to 25 feet for proposed 258 square foot and 279 square foot second floor additions and a proposed 155 square foot front porch.
Good evening.
Good evening, I'm Matthew Brennan. I live at 173 Brookside Drive.
Would you like this gentleman to speak on your behalf?
Yes, I would.
Fine, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is John Gleason, architect, 336 Sixth Avenue, St. James, New York, 11780. I'm the architect for the project, representing Matthew Brennan. The subject house is seeking variances for front yard setbacks. This is due to the fact the house is a lawful non-conforming structure. The owner took possession of the property from a relative and wants to renovate and make it a proper home with modern amenities. There will be a rear yard, first floor, first and second floor addition. Second floor addition, dormers on the existing second floor. It's kind of a Cape-style house now, to add more space front and back. Those two additions will not expand the footprint per se. It is the proposed roof over an open front porch that will encroach into the 50-foot front yard to make the front yard 25 feet as proposed. So I want to point out to the board, it may sound like a lot of relief, 50%, but point out that the house currently sits at 31.9 feet from the road. And that is to the front wall of the house, not the porch that is existing and proposed. So that's going to be, the existing front porch is going to be removed. And like I said, the existing front porch is 27 feet from the road, and we're asking for 25 feet for a new, nice front porch across the whole front of the house. And so it's actually a 2-foot extension into the front yard, required front yard. There will be no effects to the environment. That won't occur. The owner has not created this problem. This is an ongoing application. You can see the pictures of the existing house. This is going to be a tremendous improvement to the neighborhood. The neighbors are excited for the renovation to occur. So if the board has any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer them. Thank
I
you.
will ask. Does anyone on the board have any questions on this application?
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Planning,
No, thank you.
Sabrina.
Mr. Chairman, pardon me, the building department has identified that this current application to enlarge the existing single-family dwelling will require approval from the Department of Health. We have notified the applicant's representative of their need to contact the Department of Health. We need this information in order to complete our environmental review. Therefore, no decision will be made tonight.
Thank you. All right.
Yes, we have been advised with a letter, yes, last week. Correct.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? Do you have a motion to close the application, please?
So moved.
Motion has been made to close the application. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
The next case on the agenda, case number 19181, Alana Kennedy and Peter Kurtz, 6 Comanche Lane, Comac. The location of the property, the west side of Comanche Lane, 268 feet south of Seminole Lane. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 50 feet to 43 feet for proposed 157 square foot sunroom conversion to habitable floor space and a proposed 175 square foot, one-story side addition. To reduce the total side yards from 28 feet to 21 feet for the proposed 175 square foot, one-story side addition.
Good evening.
Good evening. Peter Kurtz, 6 Comanche Lane, Comac, New York, 11725. I have Mary Ellen Curtis to speak on my behalf.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Mary Ellen Curtis, 22 North Creek Road, Northport, New York. I'm here representing Mr. and Mrs. Katz. They are seeking a variance to reduce the rear yard requirement from 50 feet to 43 feet and a total side yard requirement from 28 feet to 21 feet for a sunroom that will be converted into habitable space. The request is directly related to their plan to expand their living space on the southern portion of their dwelling by 6 feet, allowing them to create a great room from the existing dining room and sunroom. In addition, they will be adding 6 feet to the rear of the dwelling to enlarge their kitchen, which does not require a variance. They also plan to add an egress window for the basement for access underneath the sunroom. The improvements will enhance their home while respecting the neighborhood's character. The sunroom will provide valuable living space for their family and will be designed to blend seamlessly with the surroundings, ensuring no negative impact on their neighboring properties. The Kurtz family has a positive presence in the community for years, and the addition reflects the comments of the improvements of their home. We believe granting this variance aligns with the spirit of the zoning regulations and will enhance the property's values in the area. Thank you very much for the consideration, and we welcome any questions you might have.
Thank you. Does anyone on the board have any questions on this application? No. Planning.
No, thank you, but if the applicant could stop by after the hearing, thank you.
Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? Can I have a motion to close the application, please? Motion has been made to close the application. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
All good? Yeah. Okay. The next case on the agenda, case number 19182, James Lasher, 27 Garvey Drive, Hauppauge. The location of the property, the southwest corner of Garvey Drive and Mount Pleasant Road. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting variances to permit environmentally sensitive land to be altered where depth of groundwater is equal to or less than 10 feet, to increase the maximum permitted floor area ratio due to environmentally sensitive lands from 30% to 100% for proposed 634 square foot rear first floor addition with basement and proposed 127 square foot front roof over porch.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm James Lasher, Lasher, 27 Garvey Drive. I've authorized Len Crick to speak on my behalf tonight.
Fine, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Len Crick, Island-Wide Permit Services, office at 86 Center Street, Ronkonkoma, New York. C-R-I-C-K. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we're here with a proposed one-story additions, 127 square foot roofed over front porch, and a 634 square foot rear addition with a basement. The front addition is basically replacing what is now a planter. I believe you might have photos of the house there. There's a planter in front of the bay window on the right side of the house that is going to be replaced with the roof over front porch. And the rear addition is basically filling in, we're not expanding the envelope of the house, where the rear is L-shaped, and we're basically filling in the space within that L. And the house, these are one-story additions. The house will remain a one-story house, basically surrounded by two-story houses. Many of those properties also have in-ground pools.
All right. That it?
That's it.
Or-
Thank you.
Okay, fine.
Any
Thank you.
questions?
I just have Blaze. Without the environmentally sensitive land, what would the FAR be on this?
Without taking into account for the high groundwater, the actual FAR is 14%.
14.
So they're well below the maximum
Right.
allowable.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone on the board have any questions on this application?
Just curious if the original house has a basement as well? 'Cause you're
Yes,
putting-
it does.
Okay.
Yes.
Planning?
No, thank you.
Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? You have a motion to close the application, please?
So moved.
Motion has been made to close the application. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
The next case on the agenda is case number 19183, Joseph Lambert, 10 Gilbert Avenue, Smithtown. The location of the property is the southeast corner of Gilbert Avenue and Ridgely Road. The property is zoned R15. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the minimum front yard setback on Gilbert Avenue from 45 feet to 24 feet for a proposed 293 square foot first floor addition.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Joe Lambert. I live at 10 Gilbert Avenue in Smithtown, and I have John Gleason here to speak on my behalf.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is John Gleason, architect, 336 Sixth Avenue, St. James, New York, 11780. I'm here to represent the Lambert family. Lambert family is proposing to expand their home. The existing home is a legal non-conforming house, initially built in the early 50s. The house lies on a corner in the R15 zone. It is in the suspected high groundwater zone as well. This prompted the town to instruct the owner to provide a soil boring. This was performed and resulted in finding water levels at 11 foot 6 inches below grade, which allowed us to avoid an additional variance request tonight. The home is strange in the fact that it's turned at a 45-degree angle on the property, which means the front door faces the corner. It's very strange, the way that the existing house lays out with relation to the setbacks makes placing an addition quite difficult without altering the entire layout of the existing home. The existing bedrooms are on the left side of the house. On the short setback side, because the house is angled at 45, I'm sure Mr. Blaze can show that there. If we put an addition on the back left corner, inevitably that would mean a 5-foot setback to the neighbor to the left. Wouldn't make the neighbor probably too happy, and the board would probably may have an issue with the 5-foot setback proposal as well. So I believe that this is the best spot for it, for the addition. I know it's in the front yard. It has 2 front yards, corner being a corner lot. As maybe some members have visited the site, it's shielded by a massive tree that's in the front yard, which will be remaining. It won't be affected by the construction. Hedges line both street frontages of the house. You can barely see the house from the street. And you may ask why we can't put the addition maybe in the middle, the back of the house. There's kitchens, there's a bathroom there, bedrooms. There's would make, again, cost a lot of money to lay out the entire inside of the house. So we're trying to make this as cost effective as possible, knowing today's construction fees and costs are expensive. And we'd just like to see this project get approved. It's a pretty decent-sized lot. The area has pretty large lots. We're just asking the board if they have any questions, and please consider a favorable response to our petition.
Okay, fine. Mr. Donati or myself rode by this morning. On Gilbert Avenue, those hedges, they're going to remain, right?
Yes.
The hedges?
Yes, they're going to remain.
Which buffers everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
They're maintained by the owners, yes.
Okay, fine.
And also on Ridgeway, yeah.
Anyone on the board have any questions?
Oh, thanks.
Planning?
No, thank you.
Sabrina?
Mr. Chairman, the building department has identified that this application to enlarge the existing single-family dwelling will require approval from the Department of Health. We have notified the applicant's representative, Mr. Gleason, of their need to contact the Department of Health. We need this information in order to complete our environmental review. Therefore, no decision will be made tonight.
I've received that letter from DEW for this particular property. I've been back and forth in discussions with Bill White, the head of the building department, and we have corresponded. He's determined that the house will not need a new septic system or a permit for a new septic system, obviously, from the health department. Well, we'll deal with that after, I'll be sending information to DEW to support that, and follow memo number 8 from the Wastewater Management Bureau.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Send those plans. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely, thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? Have a motion to close the application, please.
So moved.
Motion has been made to close the application. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
The next case on the agenda, case number 19185, Brittany and John Beccarella, 24 Pine Drive, Nesconset. The location of the property is the west side of Pine Drive, 675 feet north of Town Line Road. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 25 feet to 14 feet for proposed 866-square-foot second-floor addition and proposed 160-square-foot front porch.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you? My name is John Baccarella, and I live at 24 Pine Drive, Wisconsin, New York.
And I'm Brittany Baccarella. I also live at 24 Pine Drive, Wisconsin, New York.
Thank you.
Yes, I'll start. So we're requesting this variance. So the proposed addition would be a second-story addition, and our home currently is 20 feet from the property line, so it's already under the zoning, zoning laws. So we're only requesting an additional 2 feet for the second story, and the 14 feet would be a front porch. So if you look at the front of our house, we currently have they're bushes, so it's on the right side of the house. So we would be replacing the bushes and the little path that we have going to the driveway with a porch. Most of our neighbors also have porches, so we would like it to fit in with the rest of our block and also be able to spend time outside with our neighbors as well. So that would be the area that we would be putting the porch. We are also requesting for the second story addition because we currently do not have enough space to build a family. We're hoping to have 3 to 4 kids, and we currently only have 3 bedrooms. So we would be requesting the second story addition to add that and to be able to have the space to build our family. And then in terms of environmental impact, we would actually be benefiting the environment because we are planning to upgrade our septic system since it is, I believe, from the original home to our knowledge, which was built in approximately 1930. So we are hoping to upgrade that system and upgrade to the new system required by Suffolk County. So that would be a benefit to the environment overall. We're also not planning to enclose the porch at all, so it would remain completely open, and it's just so that we don't have the maintenance of the bushes, and again, so that we can spend time with our neighbors outside. Also, we did do some research, and other properties are also within 14 feet with staircases. That would be 14 feet. In our neighborhood, we found some on like Locust Drive, for example, using Google Maps. So it would be similar to other properties with porches or staircases from the property line. And then we are also aware of the Suffolk County Department of Health requirements, so we are in the process of that application. And like I said, we are going to be upgrading our septic system, and we're just waiting to get that approval from them and submit the application. We also believe that adding these additions would enhance the property value, and we have the support of many neighbors around us, and they're super excited for us to increase the value around the neighborhood as well. I don't know if you want to add anything. Okay. And we're also open to any questions from the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone on the board have any questions on this application?
No,
Thank you.
Planning?
No, thank you.
Sabrina?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the building department has identified that this application to enlarge this existing single-family dwelling will require approval from the Department of Health, as the applicant has stated. We've also been in contact with the applicant and let them know that they have to contact the Health Department. We need this information in order to complete our environmental review, therefore, no decision will be made tonight.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? You have a motion to close the application, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made to close the application. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
The next case on the agenda, case number 19186, Vizaya Vidak Pilarat. 438 Town Line Road, Comac. The location of the property, the northeast corner of Town Line Road and Hubble Street. The property is owned R10. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 40 feet to 28 feet for an existing 95-square-foot shed, to reduce the setback from lot line on Hubble Street from 10 feet to 1 foot for an existing PVC fence on a corner lot, to reduce the paving setback from 1 feet to 0 on Hubble Street for existing front yard asphalt paving.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. Christina Fry, an attorney with offices at 7 Pine Ridge Drive, Smithtown, New York, on behalf of Vijaya Vadakapularak of 438 Town Line Road. We're here before you this evening seeking variances for items that are located on the south side of the property along Hubble Street for this property that's on the corner of Town Line Road and Hubble Street. The items relate to a fence that is approximately 1 foot off the property line along Hubble Street. It's a 6-foot PVC fence. A frame shed that is 28 feet from Hubble Street where 40 feet is required. And paving to be legalized that's 1 foot from the property relates to a asphalt driveway in front of that shed. These items are items that have pre-existed the owner who purchased in February of this year. The variance is not substantial. These are minor items. The 6-foot fence is essential to maintaining noise, the buffer of noise from the busy street. As you see, there's an irregular guardrail going from the side of Hubble Street all the way across the front of the dwelling. There's a stop sign where the guardrail meets the concrete sidewalk. The fence does not interfere with drivers making the turn onto Town Line Road whatsoever. The fence and the shed and the paving has been there approximately 15 years, and no undesirable change would be produced in the character of the neighborhood, nor is the area variance substantial. We're requesting that the board grant the request.
Great, thank you. Does anyone on the board have any questions on this application?
Does the irregular guardrail actually encroach on the lot?
No, it does not.
Okay.
No, it's not on the property line. It's well off the property line.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
unsightly, but
Planning?
No, thank you. Did you practice in front of a mirror?
Sabrina? Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? Can I have a motion to close the application, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made to close the application. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
good evening.
Good night now.
Hi, I'm Sophia Girolamo. I live at 1 Teapot Lane, and I'm going to have,
1 second,
oh,
please.
The next case on the agenda, case number 19187, Sophia Jeremilu, 1 Teapot Lane, Smithtown, the location of the property, the northeast corner of Teapot Lane, Landing Avenue, and Edgewood Avenue. The property is owned R43. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum front yard setback on Edgewood Avenue from 60 feet to 29 feet, to reduce the minimum side yard from 24 feet to 8 feet for an existing 20-foot by 44-foot semi-in-ground pool, 1,520 square foot raised patio, and a proposed hot tub.
Good evening.
hi, how are you? My name is Sophia Girolamo. I live at 1 Teapot Lane. I was going to ask that Mr. Michelle speak on my behalf.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Ralph Michelle, M-I-C-H-E-L-E. Office is 255 West Main Street, Smithtown, New York. So we got a variance for this pool in 2022. It was granted, the building department approved the plans, but the pool company put the pool in the wrong spot. So I'm not sure if you guys have the original plans, but the original plans had shown the pool to be that pie wedge where the pool is, more centered in between. so that it was about 30, I'll have it right here, 32 and 33 feet from either side, where now it's 19 feet from the property line to the neighbor. This property is a bit challenged to begin with. It's old Dr. Adler's house. It has 3 front yard setbacks. So anything that you do, pretty much, there is no rear yard to the home. The original plan was to have the pool put more centered and in line with staying flat, but the pool company did not put the pool, number one, in the right spot, and they put it out of the ground more than it was supposed to. So now, on our variance, we're requesting that the pavers that they put around the pool, which are now elevated, instead of being on grade, now have to be added to the variance, which you can see the pavers right there in the photos, steps down from the pool to the grass. And then the new thing would be having the hot tub put in the behind the house, which typically in a normal home, that would be your rear yard. In this case, Edgewood Avenue is behind their home, so that's their 3rd front yard. So basically, the pool's already there. Can't really pick it up and move it. So we're hoping that you guys would approve the way the pool company put it in the wrong spot.
Okay. How high are the pavers off the ground?
They are, I believe, 3.5. Well, you can see that the back side of the pool is flush. The front side comes down as the grade comes down with it. So the front side is about 24 inches, but then they step down to about 4 feet in the front where the steps will go.
Right. Thank you. Does anyone else on the board have any questions?
Who built the pool?
Should we give you the name of the company?
That should be public record someplace, but thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they can't read plans.
Planning?
No, thank you.
Sabrina?
No, thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? Can I have a motion to close the application, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made to close the application. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
The next case on the agenda, case number 19189, Gary and Heidi Nilsson, 3 Broadway, Smithtown. The location of the property, the north side of Broadway, 83 feet east of Maple Avenue. The property is zoned R10. The applicant is requesting variances to reduce the minimum front yard setback from 40 feet to 39 feet for a proposed 312-square-foot roof over porch, to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 12 feet to 11 feet, to reduce the total side yards from 28 feet to 27 feet, for a proposed 312-square-foot front roof over porch and proposed 730-square-foot roof over porch. Variance to reduce the minimum rear yard setback from 50 feet to 45 feet for the proposed 730 square feet rear roof over patio, to reduce the minimum setback of an existing 3-foot retaining wall from the property line from 3 feet to 0, to reduce the minimum setback of an existing 6-foot fence from a 3-foot retaining wall from 3 feet to 0, to increase the height of an existing 6-foot fence on top of an existing 3-foot retaining wall from 6 feet to 9 feet.
Good evening.
Good evening. This is Gary and Heidi Nilsson, and we are from 3 Broadway, and we're asking Carmine Grasso to speak for us.
Fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Carmine Grasso from Cataldo Grasso Architects, office at 14 Carl Avenue in Smithtown. I'm representing the Nielsen's in their request for the variances that are in relation to their roof expansion on their house. All this work is basically revolving around, they're expanding the roof on their existing house to give them a covered porch in the front and a covered patio in the rear of the house. There is a patio in the rear right now. They're just going to be covering it with the roof over. The additional roof area is also going to allow them to install solar panels, which is really their main focus of this, of the work, which is going to help them reduce energy costs, hopefully be able to get off the grid and be more green in the process. As part of this application, when we brought this to the building department, we realized that there was also a small retaining wall that's about 2.5 feet tall at the rear of the property. It's a wood retaining wall, and it has a PVC, 6-foot PVC fence on top of it, and it's right at the property line. So we're requesting the variance to have the retaining wall reduced setback for the retaining wall and the having the fence on top of the wall. We're really not doing anything as far as the size of the house. There's just a small addition to the back of the garage, which does not require any variances. In regards to the area variance considerations, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created. We feel there won't be. The variances for the roof are minor in setbacks. It's like a 1-foot setback variance in both the side and rear yard, side and front yards, and it's only a 5-foot setback variance in the rear. The wall and the fence variance, we feel that it actually helps because it gives privacy to both the applicant and their neighbor to the rear whose property is lower than theirs. Number 2, whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the variance. No. The expansion of the roof is needed to cover the porch and patio and to provide the area required for the solar panels. And the house, because the house is right on the setback lines, pretty much anything that we do with the roof is going to require the variances. Number 3, whether the requested area variance is substantial. Again, we feel no, that the setback variances are very small, and the retaining wall wouldn't need a permit except for the fact that it's too close to the property line. Technically, a retaining wall only needs a permit if it's over 30 inches, and this wall is actually 2.4 feet. And then whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect on the impact on the physical environmental conditions of the neighborhood. We feel that the solar panels on the roof are actually going to be reducing energy usage, which is good, and the small retaining wall actually helps stormwater runoff from going onto the neighbor's property at the rear. And finally, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, we feel it wasn't, because the work could not be done without the need for any of the variances. So that's all we have, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anyone on the board have any questions on this application?
No, thank you.
Planning,
No, thank you.
Sabrina.
Mr. Chairman, the building department has indicated that a portion of the existing side yard wood retaining wall encroaches up to 1.2 feet onto the parcel to the east.
I believe that's already been corrected at this point. I'll just verify.
Okay.
That's in the process of being resolved right now.
Is that on
yes.
the east side?
It's on the east side of the property, yeah, next to the driveway.
Okay. All right. Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? Can I have a motion to close the application, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made to close the application. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
You too.
The next case on the agenda is case number 19188, Main Street Facilities, LLC, 47 West Main Street, Smithtown. The location of the property is the north side of West Main Street, 105 feet west of Carl Avenue. The property is Zone CB. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the minimum required parking from 26 spaces to 0 for a begun prior 2,011 square foot finished basement.
Good evening.
Good evening. Matt Rivera. I'm one of the owners of the property, 47 West Main Street. Forgive me, this is my first variance, so I'm not sure of everything. We bought a property that was built in 1930, and we're just trying to make the basement usable space. We're learning the process of going through the towns and everything. Currently, I mean, we're on Main Street in Smithtown. Parking, you guys know how it is. The building's there, it's been there. Going over the questions, whether an undesirable change will produce in character of the neighborhood. It's Main Street in Smithtown. We're not really changing the outside or anything. Whether the benefits sought about applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the variance. If you guys got another way, let me know. Whether the request area variance is substantial, I don't think so. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect on physical environment conditions, no. Whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, I mean, the building's been there since like the 30s. I believe we went through the health department already and got the approval, and now we're at this step.
Okay. In the basement, is there a direct access to the outside?
Yes.
Okay.
What is the basement going to be used for?
So, long story, we teach a school there, and we have little offices and storage, mostly storage, but we needed AC and stuff because we have a lot of like material and equipment.
How much of the parking is currently in use at any given point in time when the business is operating?
I mean, we generally have, on a normal day, 5 people that work in the business. The basement being finished isn't affecting that. When we do run classes, which is about once every 2 weeks, we do require more parking, but again, the classes aren't going to be run down there, and we're already approved for the upstairs. So the basement is more just to become functional space rather than unfunctional mess.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions on the board? No? Planning?
Just 2 quick questions. In the photos, it looks like, and I don't know if it's your property or not, that there's space behind the building potentially for the use of parking. Is that your property in the photos, or is that someone else's?
I was just saying that to her. So that is our property there. I don't know if it's considered big enough for parking spaces, but we do park 3 vehicles back there. That's the parking we generally use now, or the parking in front of the building.
Okay. My second question was, I heard this in passing, that there may be an issue with New York State building codes with respect to headspace in the basement. Do you know where you're at with that?
Okay. Short story.
Literally, short.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this has been a 2-year process, where we went to New York State. They originally told us that we were grandfathered in. Then we went back to the building department, and then the building department said we have to get the health department variance first. Then when we got that, they told us to get this. And then New York State said, after we get this, we bring it to them. So we're in the middle of that, but we need this to get to that.
So you have to pass through this board to be
Yes.
able to go back to the state?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? No? Can I have a motion to close the application, please?
So moved.
Motion has been made to close the application. It's
you,
been
guys.
seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
No?
The next case on the agenda, case number 18406, MJ Industries LLC, 27 Montclair Avenue, St. James. The location of the property, the east side of Montclair Avenue, 745 feet south of Rutherford Street. The property is owned LI. The applicant is requesting a certificate of existing use for materials processing in the LI zoning district for sand screening and RCA concrete processing. A special exception to maintain outdoor storage in the LI zoning district. A special exception to maintain a trucking station. A variance of a special exception standard to increase the amount of outdoor storage from 1 times the gross floor area to 8.4 times. A variance of a special exception standard to reduce the setback of outdoor storage from all streets and residence districts from 100 feet to 0. A variance of a special exception standard to eliminate the required densely planted buffer in the required 100-foot deep buffer. A variance of a special exception standard to increase the maximum height of outdoor storage from 6 feet to 20 feet. Variance of a special exception standard that requires a trucking station to have a densely planted buffer at least 50 feet deep to any residence district. A variance of a special exception standard that prohibits fuel storage above ground. Variance to reduce the front yard setback on Montclair Avenue from 50 feet to 15 feet for existing fences, walls, and outdoor storage. To reduce the front yard setback on Harvard Street, which is a paper street, from 50 feet to 0 for existing fences, walls, outdoor storage, and sheds. A variance to reduce the parking setback from the south property line from 6 feet to 0. To increase the height of a retaining wall from 6 feet to 11 feet. To reduce the setback of a 6-foot fence from the top of an 11-foot retaining wall from 11 feet to 0. Variance to increase the height of a 6-foot fence on top of an 11-foot retaining wall from 6 feet to 17 feet. Variance to reduce the minimum setback of an existing 6-foot retaining wall from any lot line from 6 feet to 0. A variance to eliminate the required landscape islands and required parking areas. A variance to increase the height of an accessory structure for a truck garage from 18 feet to 30 feet.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Christopher LeBate of the firm Lab Crew Engineering, located at 460 Hawkins Avenue in Ronkonkoma. I understand the board and the town staff are very familiar with this property, and I will try to discuss just the main points of this application. I will answer questions at the end of this presentation, but I would like to start with a brief history of this application. I have presented this application 3 times back in the 2001, and no secret determination was made at such time, during which there were multiple site visits by members of this board and town staff on proposed improvements of the site. Discussions with town staff and the property owner were held to go over certain issues on the property that existed at the time. There were 5 issues as stated in the planning advisory report, and all were addressed. During that time, our application was for 2 special exceptions and 15 variances. We have now added the CEU as stated by Mr. Donadio for material processing in a light industrial zone. This material processing, such as soil screening and RCA concrete processing, has been proven in photographs and town approvals dating back to 1961. It is a current operating use today required for cement batching. There is a new proposed silo with equipment to be constructed and the existing remnants of the antiquated cement batching facility to be removed, namely the tall batching tower. Now, the current list of variances, number 6 and number 8, we believe should be removed from the application. So a total of 13 are being sought. The above-ground fuel tank has been removed from the site, and the paper streets Harvard Street, Hoe Street, and Bryant Avenue have been properly abandoned, as so no front yard setbacks will be required. We have discussed all the variances and the special exception for the outdoor storage and the trucking station at the previous meetings. I would like to, again, to answer any questions at the end on them. The current property owners who purchased the property south of Harvard Street, which is about half the property that you saw on the site plan, approximately 20 years ago, and the property north of Harvard Street approximately 14 years ago. The owners each have been in their business for over 35 years, and since owning the site have improved the site conditions immensely. They have made several town applications over the years, including this one in 2017, and made a significant effort at great expense to legalize these site issues. The CEU, special exceptions and variances sought here today, are required for their businesses. Over the years, as the businesses have grown, the basic nature of them has stayed the same. The subject site itself is zoned light industrial within an industrial main area of this town. I think everybody on this board knows this area quite well. Its surrounding uses are common with industrial types such as car dealerships, storage yards, landfill, and a concrete plant adjacent just to the south. The variances and special exceptions being requested will not change or expand the businesses, but will permit the continuation of their long-established presence in the community that provides services and jobs to the community. One main concern of the site I would like to mention was the encroachment to the north. The north end of the property is split zone with an R21 residential zoning, and the operation had crossed over that zoning line and over the property line onto the adjoining parcels. The land, parcels? The land was vacant and it just went unnoticed. The encroachment onto the northerly properties has been cleaned up and a block wall was installed with a berm along the current zoning line. It will be graded out with proposed landscaping determined by the decision of this board or the Board of Site Plan Review. We've submitted a new plan dated 7/17/24 to the town to show a new parking design for employee-tenant parking. This is to help alleviate the parking burden in front of the building and not have it spill out onto the road. There is a total of 90 stalls on site with increased landscaping and a parking lot setback in line with the front yard fencing that runs the length of the road up to Middle Country Road with the same setbacks as the adjoining properties. This project and the property itself have a long history with this town. And I actually feel that it's a hybrid between like the old and new principal sections of the code, depending on how you look at it. There is a history here of, I wouldn't say resolutions, but variances granted from this board for this site that started, again, in 1961. We're talking about 60 years here. So I ask tonight that these variances be granted, the special exceptions and the CEU be granted, and at this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
That large piece of equipment sitting there, very tall, rusty, that's
Yes.
going to be removed?
Yes, sir.
And in its place will be a new concrete
Not in its,
batching?
no, a new silo will be installed.
A new silo will be
Yes.
there?
New technology, new equipment, not the old rusty looking issue that everybody
Right.
wants taken down.
How tall will that silo be?
I do not know that, ma'am. I can find out for you.
It says here a special exception prohibiting fuel storage above ground. So how much fuel storage do you propose to have above ground?
Oh, as I was saying, that's number 6. That fuel tank has been removed.
That has been?
Yes.
Okay.
So back to the silo, if you're not requesting a variance for it right now, I'm assuming it's going to be under 18 feet?
Yes.
Thank you.
Planning? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Special exception that requires a trucking station to have a densely planted buffer at least 50 feet deep to any residential district. So if you're relieved of that obligation, will there be any planting buffer, 20 feet, 10 feet, or?
No, it's an existing site that's been there, as I said, for like 60 years, and the current owners have owned it for about 20. All the landscaping, as you can see from the plan, is along Montclair Avenue.
Yes.
And the rest of it is basically cleared right to the property line. The zoning line, or actually you can see in the picture there, right there, I can make it a little more clearer. If you guys look at the screen up there, right where this is, right here, that is a wall that was installed along the zoning line, and this will be replanted along here.
And
So
what's-
I'm sorry, so
what-
to the
what di-
west,
What distance would you say that is?
this here?
Yeah.
This is 15 to 20 feet, and I believe it comes down to about 15, I believe, right there.
Okay.
But the principals of the application own the properties to the north?
Harvard Street, which was abandoned, split the property right in the middle. The principal owners share the southerly piece as partners, and the one partner bought the piece to the north up to the property.
But I guess my question would be, the residential boundary line
Yes,
is within your property.
yes,
The applicant owns north of that line.
Yes.
So although there's no buffer, it's still part of this
correct.
parcel.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So as the board is aware, planning prepared a revised planning advisory report for the request. We mostly focused on this one particular request as opposed to going back and rehashing the entire history of the site. It's been addressed, as Chris said, at 3 different public hearings, so it really wasn't necessary. Pretty much everything Chris put on the record is everything that we have contained in the planning advisory report with regard to the use of the materials processing on the site in connection with the cement batching, all of the things that have already been done to the site at the board's request, at planning's request, at other departments' request. And there are some items that we mentioned in the PAR that still need to be addressed. So at this time, the recommendation is, now that the fourth and hopefully final public hearing has been held, the board can close the application and wait for the Department of Environment and Waterways to finish their review of the application and see if a secret egg deck is warranted for the request.
Thank you. Sabrina?
Mr. Chairman, our environmental review is still ongoing, as we received the applicant's full environmental assessment form yesterday. Additionally, we want to consider information from the public and any comments, information presented by the applicant and any comments from the public before we make a recommendation. So therefore, no decision will be made tonight.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience like to be heard on this application? Can I have a motion to close the application, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made to close the application. It's been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can I add Let's Go Mets, or is there people going to get mad?
I'm sorry?
I said, can I add Let's Go Mets, or are some people Yankee fans?
Why not?
The game started.
My son will appear on your behalf now, if that's the case.
Good night now. First case on the agenda tonight was case 19177, Island Preservation Project, LLC.
Case 19177, I'll make a motion to approve with the condition that all encroachments are removed.
And our other part of the comment was that this is, our seeker is based on our understanding that it's just for TDFR purposes and that the lot will never be built upon and will be vacant.
Okay?
Okay.
Can you insert that?
Second, Bill?
Second.
Motion has been made to approve as presented with conditions. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, 5-0. Next case is case 19178, Melissa Kopelman.
Case 19178, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made to approve as presented. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, 5-0. Next case was case 19179, Huntington Learning Center.
Case 19179, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made to approve as presented. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, 5-0. Next case is case 19180, Matthew Brennan. No action. Next case is case 19181, Alana Kennedy and Peter Klutz. Kurtz? Peter Kurtz.
Case 19181, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made to approve as presented. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, 5-0. Next case is case 19182, James Lasher.
Case 19182, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made to approve as presented. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, 5-0. Next case is case 19183, Joseph Lambert. No action. Next case is case 19185, Brittany and John Baccarella. No action. Next case is case 19187,
86.
86.
Case 19186, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Nobody says that his name.
I was going to say Mr. V. All
Sorry,
right,
Blaze.
case 19186, motion has been made to approve as presented. It was seconded. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, 5-0. Next case is case 19187,
Case-
Sophia Garumo.
Case 19187, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made to approve as presented. It's been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, 5-0. Next case is case 19189, Gary and Heidi Nielsen.
Case 19189, I'll make a motion to approve as presented with the condition that all encroachments are brought back onto the applicant's property.
Second.
Motion has been made to approve with conditions. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, 5-0. Next case is case 19188, Main Street Facilities LLC.
Case 19188, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made to approve as presented. It's been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, 5-0. Next case is case 18406, MJ Industries LLC. No action. Okay, on the back of the page, first case is case 19155, Arthur Sonic.
I have in my notes here that there was a fence encroachment.
Yeah, 6-foot PVC fence and a rubber mulch play area.
Okay. Case 19155, I'll make a motion to approve as presented with the condition that the fence and the play area encroachments are brought back onto the applicant's property.
Second.
Second. Motion has been made to approve with conditions. It's been seconded. All in favor? Motion carried, 5-0. Next case is case 19164, Stuart Petit.
Oh, please.
I think so, too.
Yes. We were waiting on a test hole also. Did you review that?
Yes, they did. We did. And the groundwater was captured at 4.5 feet.
Okay. Case 19164, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second. Motion has been made to approve as presented. It's been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, 5-0. Next case is case 19167. We have to adopt the CEQA. Yep. Have a motion to adopt the CEQA, please?
Secret.
Second.
Motion has been made to adopt the CEQA. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried, 5-0 to adopt the CEQA. Now on the merits of the case.
Hold, please. Case 19167, I'll make a motion to approve as presented with the condition that all land bank spaces that were denoted on the original site plan are developed prior to the issuance of a CO.
Second.
Motion has been made with conditions. It's been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, 5-0. Next case is case 19172, RS Enterprises USA, Inc.
It's 910.
Again, I think we're just waiting on the
Yeah,
CEQA.
we were. I read my notes at home.
Hold on.
control information, and we received it, and they had groundwater at 11.9 feet.
All right, case 19172, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Motion has been made to approve as presented. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, 5-0. Next case is case 19174, Joseph and Robin Mendez. This is where they want a maximum gross floor area from 30 to 40%.
But they-
So they
agreed to, right?
The architect submitted revised plans
34?
showing compliance with 34%. They should be in the file, if the file is in there. But they did comply with the 34% limitation.
Okay.
Okay.
Case 19174, I'll make a motion to approve to 34% only.
Motion has been made to approve with conditions. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried, 5-0. The next case is case 1-17981, David Amandy. They want to reopen.
Does everybody need a refresher on what it is?
Freshen us up, Blaze.
Sure, why not? So the case was before the board probably 5 years ago. They came in for a special exception for temporary living quarters for children. And it was determined at that time that the portion that they were denoting as the temporary living quarters was actually bigger than the main portion of the house that the parents were living in. It went back and forth, back and forth. The building department did a number of inspections. I was present for at least one of them, along with the applicant's architect, making recommendations on what they should do to make it more code compliant and perhaps be approvable by the board. They were working with Pong Moy from Mancini Architecture at the time. The last time that we spoke, he was going to be working on plans to revise the first and second floors so that they were more in line with temporary living quarters and also provide access between both dwelling units. But that fell off the radar. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a financial issue. I don't know what the story is. However, the owners of the property, which would be David's parents, they're both retired now. They would like to come back before the board and finish what they started.
All they really have to do is put a door in, right, in that demising wall?
Basically, they have to install 2 doors. That's it.
2?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm assuming the children are still living with them.
So the son and the daughter-in-law still live there. The 2 grandchildren, they do live there, but they are away at school, so it's 4 to 6 people max.
They moved in 2019?
No, they've been in the house for 30, 35 years.
The temporary living quarters?
The temporary living quarters has probably been there about 20.
So how long is temporary before it gets renewed or ceases to be temporary and becomes permanent?
Well, assuming that it gets approved by the board, the building department is supposed to inspect it every 3 years and make a determination as to whether or not an immediate family member is occupying it. So immediate is only a small group of people: mother, father, brother, sister, son, daughter. That's it. No extended family. But that's on the building department.
Right.
All right, so we need a unanimous approval to reopen the case.
Yes, and we recommend that you reopen it, but that's up to
So,
Is there a
So-
problem with my voting to reopen something that came up in 19?
I don't think so.
Okay, fine.
Because you have to hear it.
Right,
so.
absolutely, I would
so I'll
think
go
so
down
too.
the line. Tony?
Aye.
Adrian?
Aye.
Bill? Aye. Paul?
Aye.
And I'm a yes also.
Okay.
So case will be reopened.
You want to work on a date? Let's see.
What's a good?
So, what do you, either October 22nd or, God, oh, that's another conversation I want to have with you guys, but either October 22nd or November 5th.
Oc-
Why
oc-
don't we go with October 22nd
October
so I
tw-
can sit on it?
Yeah, October.
I'm voting to
October
reopen it.
22nd.
October 22nd?
Good.
So there's been a lot of discussion in the office
Wait,
about,
And that, one minute.
yeah, that's fine.
And that concludes the meeting for tonight.